MaJaMa Jams is brought to you by Pride.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Whatever we want to do, we can do it. Because it's a gay cruise. It's a gay cruise, Jerry, not a bi cruise. It's a gay cruise.
Welcome back, everyone, to MaJaMa Jams, a show where we discuss other people's work to avoid doing our own. Guys, here at the top of the hour, I'd like to ask you, nay, beg you, to go ahead and click that like button, click that subscribe button if you haven't already, drop a comment, do something, interact with the channel. YouTube has decided that we're not as worthy as the rest of the people and is pushing us down. But for just 0 cents a day, you can change it by... Click the like button, guys. Do it. Welcome back to our paper-strewn couch for another edition of Why the Flip Did We Watch This? Which is a first-time segment which is happening today because, you know how it is. I say every week we've gotten into something, but this week I have a different angle. This week I'm more confused, Mateo, by the existence of this thing.
What?
I won't say it's as wacky or as awful or as much of a slog, because actually, funnily enough, through the perspective of watching a bad movie with your friends, I did enjoy this through that perspective. I didn't enjoy the movie. But I'm very, very perplexed by this. This is a little bit of an infamous one. It is 2002's, but released in early 2003.
As if anyone cares.
Yeah. Honey, I was watching MaJaMa Jams, and the host said that Boat Trip was released in 2002, but actually, or shot in 2002, but actually released in 2003. Did you tell the kids?
They said what?
Wake the kids up. Bring the kids into the room. Released in 2003, it is the somewhat infamous Gay Panic the movie, also known as Boat Trip. It is starring what at one time in human existence was an Oscar winner in Cuba Gooding Jr.
And the Oscar goes to Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire.
It is starring, I will forever be the side character in 60 million comedy productions, but never crawl to the top of the bin.
Top of the
Making
bin.
fun of someone for doing comedy. I can't even speak a friggin' sentence. Climb to the top of the bin. Mr. Horatio Sands. Forever, I feel like the best friend role. Forever. Not a diss. He just always was. Kind of
What
like
does top of the bin mean?
climb to the top of the comedy bin. I guess they're all in the bin.
Like
They're trying to
raccoons
get
in a
out, but
dumpster?
they're already in a bin. So, like, do you want to get out? What is this metaphor? You want to be in or out of the comedy bin?
This is one you've created, or this is one that exists?
Honey, first they say the wrong date of Boat Trip. Now they're talking about...
I'm riveted! Kids, get in here!
Really?
So, I remember this from back in the day. There was a bit of a buzz just because it was kind of a WTF of a thing. Now, what is the plot of the oft-mocked, sometimes forgotten, but definitely in a weird way, iconic, infamous? What is the plot? Jerry and Nick are two best friends whose love lives have hit rock bottom. To escape their troubles and find new women, they book a trip on a cruise ship. However, after making an insensitive comment about homosexuals, in retaliation, their travel agent books them on a cruise for gay men. Slowly but surely, Jerry and Nick begin to realize this, and a wild series of humorous predicaments occurs. Mostly without the humorous part. So, just so you guys know.
Dramatic pause.
Should I drink too?
Yeah.
Is it poison?
Drink
I
up.
hope it's poison.
Sadly, it's not alcohol. But just so you guys know, here is the inciting incident. Now, this is something I got caught up on. Matthew doesn't think it's as insane of a thing to kick off an entire movie, but they're going to go on a cruise to get women.
Woohoo!
And Artie Lang is one of the travel agents outside who they run into. He cuts off their parking spot. They scream back and forth in a hilarious back and forth.
It's a banter that is...
That was my space! Fuck you! Hey, fuck you right back, buddy!
Hey, Nick, back off. I don't want to see an out-of-shape slob get his butt kicked.
He ain't that out of shape.
Talking about you. You breaking sweat changing your shoes.
I thought that was John Belushi.
And then they come in, and then the guy, in what could be played as a decently funny joke, Will Ferrell's like, "Oh, you're still here."
Your mother died.
What? When?
This morning. I'm sorry. I thought you got my Post-it.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
And then it's kind of a funny joke, but then the timing of it is weird when the guy stops, continues about his business, and then looks at the post-it note.
Would you excuse me for just a moment?
Now, there's a nugget of a decent joke there
It's
that's...
not bad where he's just kind of going through the motions of, oh, yeah, I'll check that out later. I'll check my post-it note, then blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait, you said what about my mom?
It's all right, but what I would like to say...
and pacing kind of off.
And it's funny the things you remember, because this was right around after Will Ferrell went nuclear with Old School and everything that came after it. So I think there was a thing where it was like, you know, there's a bright spot of Will Ferrell's cameo for 2 seconds, then we go back to it. And I will say, especially in a movie like this, Will Ferrell makes this a different movie for about 90 seconds.
Yes.
Like, he comes in, and, I mean, he's just doing his Will thing, but my God, when you are just in a slog, it is like someone just being like, here's oxygen, breathe deep. He makes it just zip, and for 90 seconds, we're in a pretty funny comedy. He even has little innocuous lines like, oh, not over there, they're by the travel brochures or something he said. And,
This guy's a jerk.
All right, Brian, you know what? Enough. Let me handle this. You go check on the ski packages.
Yeah.
Ski over near the Maui getaways. Remember?
Yeah.
Since the changeover?
Yeah, I get it.
just funny for a little bit. But anyway, so...
Why'd they have to make them gay? Couldn't they have just made a pissed off douchebag who sets them on the wrong...
yes.
Because no one calls my little pecker a pecker. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that question is
Like,
kind of indicative
how would
of
I make
every
these
joke.
guys more pissed off? They want a cruise full of women. Let me put them on a gay cruise. Why do they have to be gay to think of a gay cruise?
Yeah.
Well, it's also just, I want to stress, I'm not saying this to mock the movie. It just legitimately feels that the three of us
You're not?
would be writing a first draft script, and we'd be like, what if they piss off a travel agent? He's like, I'm going to book him on a gay cruise. That's not what it's going to be, but we got to go to lunch. So what if
I
we
mean,
go
I don't
with
think
it?
that's a bad setup
Really?
for this at all. How else would you get on a
I don't
gay
know.
cruise?
There's
I
just...
think it's a setup for a sitcom, not for a...
Great.
Okay,
yes.
well, that's one of the first things I want to say. Thank you for bringing that up, because Mateo discovered that this guy, whose name is Mort, not you, but another Mort, comes from nothing but television. And a lot of Golden Girls.
He produced and wrote several episodes of Golden Girls.
Okay.
And,
Okay. Not to disparage
Hail to
Golden
the
Girls in
Chief
any
was-
way,
No.
Yeah.
which is...
The sound that just emitted from his mouth was...
But you see the
was
sitcom
exactly, yes. I was
Yes.
actually thinking. It doesn't
DNA.
cleanse it of the sins, but when you're like, okay, you are nothing but a sitcom writer, this looks a lot less what the hell. It's not great.
No.
But it is completely, it's uncinematic in every way possible.
Yeah.
It's uncinematic in every way, in the cuts, the looks, the...
Which, again, is incredibly surprising because apparently he co-wrote Kingpin by the Farrelly
Which is a
brothers.
pretty good comedy classic, I feel like.
Yeah.
It definitely has its audience.
It's very, very, very strange and mysterious.
He's
I
the only
must
one
say.
credited?
He's co-writer and director.
Yes.
I don't know who the other guy is. He probably killed himself already. But it's... I don't know. Matthew doesn't seem to think it's as weird. I don't know. For me, fact that
the
that
only
kicks
thing-
off a whole movie...
I mean, you're okay. We need to get these guys on. Here's a funny idea. Here's a funny premise. Here's the hook line.
How do we get to this goal that I've created?
Straight guys, horn dogs.
Yeah.
They get on a gay cruise and they're stuck with gay men as opposed to women they're trying to chase. How do we make that happen?
Well, you said instead of women, it's what? What did you?
What?
Did you hear what he just pitched? You're gonna go far, kid.
But what you were saying earlier, kind of like some like it hot or something.
That's what
like
you
that.
need.
They don't have because
here you go. This is the crux of it.
You go to a gay cruise and you're not supposed to. You stay in your cabin. You just you don't interact with people. The end.
What you don't do is go into someone else's cabin. That's every joke in this movie.
Yes.
That's every joke.
But it's not. There is not neither urgency. There is no ticking bomb.
Maybe we should grow beards.
We are getting out of town, but we're gonna shave.
Shave?
Shave.
At a time like this, those guys got machine guns ready to blast our heads off. You want to shave?
Shave our legs, stupid.
Shave our legs? What? How?
What's the matter now?
How do they walk in these things, huh? How do they keep their balance?
Must be the way the weight is distributed now. Come on.
There's no need, like you kept harping on. Or we all kept saying, no need for them to force themselves into playing
Classic
gay.
example. Two classic examples here. One.
Singular sensation.
Me?
It is Mateo.
It is Mateo.
One of the best comparisons I've always loved. Liar, Liar versus Yes Man.
Yes.
Liar, Liar is literally a magical children's wish, which is why it's the best role for Jim ever, because I can't lie. It's magic as opposed to, you should try saying yes to everything. you might stick to it because you want to do it, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Right? And number two, sister act. You need to go undercover as a nun because literally
Somebody
your
will
life
kill
is
you.
in danger. Someone may kill you. So while you don't need the most ironclad plot logic in Boat Trip, as Mateo pointed out, what really gets me is there's no reason for him to keep up the charade.
Yeah.
Me? Straight? Girlfriend, please. Woo. Nobody's got to teach me how to be gay.
And the Oscar goes to Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire.
All right, they kind of play it as...
They have loose reasons.
Okay, well,
but
they
it
kind of play it
doesn't-
as like this girl that he's taken he caught her eye of, she catches his eye, whatever the hell. Came speak! It's freaking Boat Trip! We're analyzing Boat Trip! This woman, okay, she's like, oh, this cruise is always full of horny guys. If it's not a gay cruise, I hate that. Like, I've been burned by that. I need to do that.
You know, especially on the gay cruises. They're much more fun than the straight ones.
Why is that?
Because you go on the straight cruises and all you meet are these horny creeps.
So I guess it's like, well, if I tell her that, she's going to have her guard up, whereas otherwise I can...
And also,
I guess it's loosely...
Yeah, Gabriella doesn't mean it. She's just had bad luck with guys she dates because they only want to have sex with her. You know the type.
Don't ever take sides against the guys.
We now return to
MaJaMa.
Why do I ever listen to you?
Are you implying that this is somehow my fault?
Oh, I'm not implying it. I'm saying it. If you hadn't insulted that travel agent, none of this would have happened.
frankly, I don't remember nothing. But in general, I don't remember how the public opinion was in the early 2000s. However, they say, oh, we're for 7 days on this gay cruise. And Cuba Gooding Jr. literally faints.
It's a gay cruise!
Now, it doesn't, it seems a little extreme.
Yes.
Thanks.
That's the thing. It's just like, it's either you tell him, hey, if you don't screw a woman within 7 days, you will die, then I can understand it. Which
Or you stay on this boat for long enough, you're going to become gay.
Yes.
I'm gay.
As it should happen, right?
You have till midnight on Thursday.
Yes.
You ever seen Cinderella? This is like that, but with cock.
Felicia.
Well, okay, you bring up a great point, which to me is one of the main cruxes of discussing this movie. Now, we just looked up the trailer on YouTube. The trailer does a little bit more of a job of showing you how it's supposed to be a horn dog's trapped on a gay boat. What? Don't worry, there's still blondes in this thing.
Yes.
But also in the trailer, which I remembered all these years later, decades later, was, how could you think I'm gay?
How could you think I'm gay?
And the Oscar goes to Cuba Gooding Jr. and Jerry Maguire.
Now, one of the most confusing things, especially from someone who's won an Oscar, is not said to make you laugh, is the genuine Don Knotts performance.
Yes.
Look out! What? They've spotted us.
Who?
Don't stop driving, man. Keep going.
What is this?
A helicopter. They've seen us.
What helicopter?
The Don Knotts way that Cuba plays it, but also the lispy gay way. He's played as a little bit of a metrosexual, if you will, if that's an outdated term now, but he's kind of played as Horatio even says,
You're a little femme, that's why. You always dress real nice, you're in shape, you're neat. Oh, and you use those pastel-colored balls at the bowling alley. Don't think that got past me.
maybe the guy booked it because he thought he was doing you a favor. You always dress nice, you like fancy coffees or whatever. Gay joke logic. But what confuses me is Cuba seems to dip in and out of a lispy, cliche, sitcom-y homosexual voice.
Out?
With notes of a goofball Don Knotts, Jim Carrey performance, unless the director was tripling down on the sitcom stuff.
That's weirder because you can understand, like, oh, okay, you're going to play him kind of borderline where if you didn't know him, you could think he could be gay.
Check this out, Jerry. 4 racquetball courts. Hey! 9 cocktail lounges. A casino.
6 1/8 of running mates.
And then you're going to show other guys who come off as very masculine, but they are gay, but they're on the cruise still. So I think you want to show that range, but why the weird cartoonish Don Knotts overacting?
Well, but my question is, are we literally have him doing that voice? And yes, you could take both. Like, why is it Don Nazi and so cartoony for like he's a like you always talk about a friggin' 70s Disney live action villain just traipsing around with a mustache twirling? But is he literally only speaking with kind of a lispy cliche voice to set up the fact that Gabriella is going to think he's gay? Because I don't see any other reason.
Yeah.
And also, it's kind of like when they make fun of.
Use this film to break down stereotypes.
Well, I have another thing to get into, but would you guys think that's the only reason why he speaks? Because half the movie for a movie about gay, this is the gay panic. I'm sorry, get excited when talking about Road Trip. For a movie that is exclusively about gay panic, your guy's like, "What happened to you last night? Oh my God! At least there's some women. Like, what is this? Like,
You know, I've kissed Felicia for 4 years and never felt anything like I felt last night.
Is it literally think they instruct him to do that only for the it'll go down easier that she thinks you're gay?
Like we said that when you watch certain parts of this film, they're very overtly not reality, where we are attributing them to Naked Gun type.
Again, the old discussion of tone.
That's like, all right, maybe he was trying to play that because that's what he thought the film was going to be. Because there are those elements, the orange scene, the jizzing out the port window scene.
Oh, we're gonna compartmentalize the discussion about the jizzing out the port window scene. But the orange scene is actually
Stay tuned. Good stuff.
What the? Coming up, an in-depth discussion of the jizz port window scene.
I mean, we're gonna have to.
We have to.
Yes.
It's insane. No, but listen, the oranges scene. The oranges scene, I think, in a different movie is a great gag. I actually love it. It's a great gag. Not the most original gag, but it's a great gag.
You're a really quick study.
That's enough foreplay.
But you are right that belongs to a Naked Gun movie. Legitimately, that's a Naked Gun gag. That's a
the orange scene is like the scene in High Point where they do the chase that all of a sudden they sped up like the
yes.
That you say what?
Yes.
Why is it in the middle of this movie and
Well, that's my point. Is Cuba plays it very like early Jim Carrey. Like even could you be like more goofball and like this is a Disney Channel show than Ace Ventura was. Like it's a very confusing. Again, it makes a lot of sense if the director comes from nothing but sitcoms, but still, I would think that if you're going to have this much of a tone-deaf, heavy hand to a gay panic movie, both your guys would be like, for instance, Chuck and Larry.
I now pronounce you husband and husband. You may kiss the husband.
They're both firefighters and they both talk like this. It's, you know what I mean? Like how? It's
That's
weird.
not how Adam Sandler talks.
Just gonna take a picture. We're just gotta do this.
That's how we roll in our house, baby.
Hell yeah.
It's weird enough this exists, but when the whole movie Cuba's like, we have to get off this ship. It's crazy. We're surrounded by gay men. It makes me nervous. I mean, I want a woman.
I think that was intentional. That has to be intentional.
I suppose so. Then again, this is a movie, and you realize that it's exactly from a sitcom environment because there's a scene where a Swedish
bikini tan
model
talk about the Swedish
and her Swedish trainer meet in the same room, and they're both talking in English with a Swedish accent.
But why, Coach? You cannot be trusted with minibar. You are in training.
But, Coach, I eat nothing all day.
You ate yesterday, yeah?
Let's just say the Disney from the 70s or the movies from the 70s were people who should talk their own native language.
It's too much work.
Yes,
well, okay, so the Swedes are a great way to bring up. Like I said, the trailer does not lay heavily into the boner comedy aspect, but at one point we have two teams of 12 each, tall, blonde, classic swimsuit women meet up for a fight. There's a thing where, as per Matthew's Naked Gun gags, Horatio tries to fire a flare to be rescued from potential homosexual rape, instead makes a helicopter crash which apparently can fit the entire tanning team.
And in a gag that it's off screen because they didn't.
Oh my God!
Completely.
completely off screen, so they must have had real budgetary issues. We get like a CGI thing going towards a stock footage of a helicopter. But the girls, Victoria Silvstedt, played by the year at the time, and also pops up in Basketball, making out with Matt Stone. Being such a nerd that I know that. I feel like that's more movie nerd knowledge.
I was
gonna say, I feel like funnily enough, that's more movie nerd knowledge than porno nerd knowledge.
Sure.
Dude, who is that? Who does it look like? Victoria Silvstedt, Playmate of the Year.
Hello, Victoria Silvstedt, Playmate of the Year.
So the two teams of women give a little more clues to the math of who they were trying to sell for, because that's at least the classic, American Pie. You put the close-up of the stock bikini body on it. Like, okay, we're trying to sell the dudes who would know Horatio and Will Ferrell for 2 seconds.
You're also doing R-rated, so you're cutting half your audience off.
But this is what I mean.
There's plenty of boobs in the movie.
Yes and no.
I mean, there's a good amount.
They do jumping jacks.
Yeah,
that's that scene, which is good.
All right, I'm saying it's enough. That's
well, okay, but look, so that's the perfect example. You have an entire room full of svelte blonde women instructed to do jumping jacks, which we topless, which we stay on for a while.
People are getting out of their chairs. People are getting out of their chairs. Put it on. Put it on. Put it on.
In the same,
honestly,
in the same movie where you just have a sitcom-esque, stupid, offensive, gay
it's
panic.
Just the tone, and the idea is just all over the place. Yeah. Where and it's like, who? Like, I think I forget if we brought this up already, but who are you marketing to?
Yeah.
Who are you trying to get in the seats? Gay men, women dragging their boyfriends, guys who like.
All of them seem like no.
20 to 30-year-old guys who think Horatio Sands is funny from SNL.
Okay, so boss, here's the list. For this one, we're really gunning for the 20 to 30-year-old guys that think Horatio Sands is hilarious. This whole movie rides on that demographic.
Hey, man. Bring it down.
Capital G, capital A, capital Y, MC, A, gay cruise, Jerry! Damn!
But I'm not even making a joke out of that, because he was pretty popular at the time. He can be funny.
No, I don't. I don't think he's not funny.
But it's just wondering how do you market the movie like this? Because
and I don't know also if and this is personal.
Damn it! The 20-somethings that love Horatio Sands didn't come out this time.
God!
We now return to
MaJaMa. I kind of wanted to hang out more with these guys, but there was a part of me that felt it was somehow wrong to be friends with gay men. And that makes me feel like a jerk.
I don't know if it was more offensive if the incredible homophobic tone of the beginning, or when they say, "Oh, these guys, one of them is a surgeon, one of them is a fireman."
That's what I wanted to get into.
That conversation I think is fine to have, especially 22 years ago. But it's the clunky, just most basic way to say it. Like,
these guys I'm playing poker with, Steven, Tom, Ron. Steven's a doctor, a gay heart surgeon. Who would have thought? And Ron's a criminal defense attorney. I mean, he represents some pretty badass dudes.
Dude, it's again, sometimes you have to distinguish. We're not saying this to crack jokes. Like, this makes the classic put in the schmaltzy keyboard part of Full House that rolls in like clockwork around the third half of the episode, where, gee, Deej, I guess you really do matter as my big sister. Like, this makes those look more competent, and I'm not saying that as a joke. No. It is unreal. The most third grade, like Horatio Sands literally says with this delivery, but these guys seem pretty cool, and I want to hang out with them more. But these guys are also gay, and that makes me feel like it's wrong, and I'm barely doing a bit.
Yes.
Dude, it is the most, again, if you just had a dude being gay bashed in a way that was shot like a Scorsese movie so it was uncomfortable and the F word was flying, it would not be as offensive as the lazy 3-year-old pathetic, just worthless writing of this scene.
The writing is more offensive than the content.
Yes.
The writing of this scene, dude. The fact that a human being gosh, one guy is a criminal lawyer and another guy is a chef, but they're also gay. So while I want to hang out, I also like having a tight anus. What would you do? Well, you see, gay people are people too.
Stop screaming.
Oh my God.
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't easy. But it's better to be true to yourself than to lie to the world.
And that stuck with me even years ago when I saw it, because I've always been forward thinking about the gays, so I felt this way back then. No, but even I remember that scene from years ago. Honestly, I don't think gay people could be as offended by that as writers could. It is pathetic.
Yeah.
It is one of the crappiest things I've ever seen in my life. The fact that that was played as an emotional... Is it Hector, the gay guy? He saves it with some decent acting, and like my father came around, he didn't want to talk to me.
You see, my papi, he like you. You know, jerk. You just need to learn. You learn too, my friend.
He saves it with at least a little more, but Horatio, literally, but they're gay. How am I supposed to hang out with them?
It's just like one notch below when the master villain says, you're not that different, you and I. It's almost the same thing, and whatever.
Do you care for a bite of my sausage? In England, we call them bangers.
Well, we have a very special, from Mateo's fandom, we have a very special guest in this movie who will lead up to our discussion of one of the most mind-blowing scenes in the history of cinema. Now, Mr. Sir Roger Moore.
Mr.
Sir Roger Moore is engraved on his knighted...
Who somehow manages to preserve his dignity.
That's absolutely wonderful.
He's not bad. He's not bad. It's a good role for him. I think he takes to it well.
And he, of course, he had a lot of training in, thanks to James Bond, to play a gay character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very
really came through.
Yeah.
Very gay-heavy Bond movies.
I don't suppose you'd care for a nightcap?
But he is in this as the classic guy hitting on the guy that's not gay. But again, for such a trope, Roger Brinson, you don't roll your eyes at his. But so some things did stick out. How could you think I'm gay? Yes, literally. How could you think I'm gay from the trailer? The horrible example of writing of Horatio realizing gays are actually people that shouldn't be beaten to death.
We have a list.
And this scene stuck around from seeing it years ago. So Gabriella is like, how do you give head, gay man?
Can I ask you something?
Shoot.
How do you do it?
Do what?
Give head?
What?
Teach me as a guy that does it. Oh, you don't want to? Well, I'll teach you. Again, we got to get something for the straight guys that showed up to this, this gay panic comedy. She starts acting out, giving a beej on a banana. Of course, it's supposed to titillate the actually straight Cuba. So when she finishes and says, that's how I do it, she opens his eyes. He's gone.
She opens her eyes.
She opens her eyes. Thank you, Matthew. Just keep clarity for the people at home. She opens her eyes. Cuba is now butt-ass naked with his schlong in one of the port windows, pumping like this. And then what I assume is just garden variety lotion, which I have a comment on in a minute because it's very white in a non-semen way.
Jerry.
Squirts onto the guy that's with Roger Moore, and he says,
"For goodness sake, Lloyd, at least kiss me first."
However you felt describing that scene,
like you'd
is how
have
it
to
feels
have
watching
your
it.
penis tucked upwards into your pants, your belt holding it tight against you, and and then jizz straight up. But also, he's shooting out the port window. I'm pretty sure they're leaning on a rail facing the ocean, and somehow it hits the dude on.
Are there any physics majors dropping the?
Oh, the thing is shoots out in the wind, like shoots it back. But also, why is he? Is that just him? All right, so is he jerking off? Or is he just about to bust, and he just chooses the port window instead of the toilet?
Got some notes on the script. Really looking forward to the crescendo of the jizz scene, but now, dude, that scene is Cuba
in in broad strokes, it's a funny gag.
Yes.
She just thinks she's talking with a gal pal about giving blowjobs and doesn't think anything of it, yet he's about to nut just based off watching her do it.
We've all been there.
So it's baseline funny. It just is awkward because he's in the bathroom, but we see, like, he runs in there and doesn't close it. We don't see how he gets there.
It also doesn't look like a bathroom, so it just looks like he's at the window sticking his dick out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. As you do to wave goodbye to people, I guess.
But it's not a bad joke.
Per se, yes. But
it's just...
I mean, a lot of this comes down to execution and tone.
It's this. This is how we can sum it up. If you watched any American Pie straight to DVD, of which I think there are about 87 at this point, you could know what this is. And we could critique this for being a crappy straight to DVD boner comedy, but you'd go, this was a boner comedy. Boat Trip almost deserves to be studied in a museum.
Also theatrical. Also 2002-3.
Theatrical is crazy. And also, maybe my brain is just all these terrible grosses nowadays, but they say, oh my god, it bombed in 10th place with 3 million. Having watched this, if you released this theatrically and got 10th place with 3 million, clap it up. Clap it up, people. That's a win. I don't care what anyone says. It's friggin' insane. 3 million. $3 million worth of ticket takers went to see something. So.
You gotta...
Huh? What were we saying before?
Doesn't matter. None of this matters.
Cha-cha-cha.
Try to circle back to your point.
But Boat Trip, you were saying the jizz.
Awful, man. It's just bad.
The jizz. Oh, so this is a moment in time where someone tried to make an early 2000s boner comedy, but threw in a gay angle, massive amounts of sitcom-y gay panic, and an attempt to actually say something about gays.
It's Jack Tripper in Three's Company gags just strewn throughout the entire film.
In this way, I believe Boat Trip almost sticks out a little bit amongst its other brethren from this year, similar to how even Roger Ebert himself came back and said Freddy Got Fingered was not just one of these crappy whatever comedies, it was a go-for-broke attempt to do something. I don't think this is that, but I think there's
something... You don't think this is going to come around at a certain point?
Ebert came around after 20 years, changed what he said about Boat Trip.
I think he was on his deathbed at the time.
Real quick. He's gonna come out of the graveyard and during the zombie apocalypse. I say, before I eat your brain, let me tell you about Boat Trip.
I think it's genuinely interesting that during the heyday of the American Pie boner comedy, the American Pie boner comedy, I think it's truly fascinating that someone tried to do this gay version of an otherwise completely crappy, low budget, what should have been straight to DVD. Check National Lampoon's around this time. Boner comedy.
No.
So this movie's terrible. It should be put in a vault and ripped from existence. But I think it's interesting for something like this because it's so shocking that they tried to do this, failing so miserably. And yeah,
I think actually the director, the next two movies that he directed were both National Lampoons. One was Van Wilder, 2, The Rise of Taj.
With
Cal
Penn.
Give it up for me.
And I don't remember the other one.
So if you watch it in the context of one of the 6,000 National Lampoon straight to DVD you could find on a Blockbuster around this time, it probably and that's what I'm saying. There's nothing unique about it whatsoever except for the fact that it's a very weird swing of let's do an American Pie. Jason Biggs got his pee-pee stuck in super glue.
Plus Cuba Gooding Jr. at the time. And just
still...
Yeah, and then just theatrical. Just weird.
Nay.
Weird moments in movie time. That's what we're here for, guys. That's why we're on the couch. We're breaking it down. 2003 was a wacky time, and let's express our homophobic feelings on this piece of crap by throwing these pieces of paper.
We're done.
What?
We're done.
We're done?
We didn't even talk about him giving the head to Lin Shaye and then blasting her with a fire extinguisher, and then the supermodel tanning girls come out and say, oh my god, your pussy's on fire, and she's just CGI smoke in front of her.
Nothing could be more indicative of the experience of watching that movie that what he just described I forgot happened until this moment. You had Lin Shaye's vagina on fire and I forgot about it until he said something.
I remember that they did their money worth with the pool.
Yeah.
4 times?
Yeah.
4.
Not again! Release!
Callbacks. All right, I'm sorry. That was a good thing to highlight. Is there anything else?
We didn't even touch on the Vivica A. Fox plot.
Oh my God!
And Richard Roundtree, Shaft.
Yeah.
Vivica and Richard are named, so they're given billing in it, but I think they probably have a combined total of 7 minutes of screen time.
Possibly,
like
yeah.
2 Coolio's worth of Fat
I
Beach.
guess it doesn't matter.
Strange. They made the photos of the ceremony before the ceremony.
So
they take the photos before the marriage.
They were doing that?
Yeah. Well, we cut unceremoniously off of the boat trip, and we're just like on the.
So, and yes, she has the picture of him. She has broken up with him at this point. Said no to his marriage proposal after he threw up on her on a hot air balloon. But she's dating a new guy who's in the driveway right now, polishing her car. But she has a framed picture of her and Cuba Gooding Jr. on her mantle or table.
This is a movie where Vivica A. Fox says spit it out before Cuba Gooding Jr. vomits on her.
Just spit it out.
This is the movie where you think there's things that you make fun of movies with, but then this movie actually is that. There was a guy that said, "Okay, hold on, I'm about to go to get a sub for lunch. Spit it out." Then he vomits. Send. And wait.
Here's the rewrite of the scene.
He told me to punch it up.
Imagine how it was
Punch
before.
Up.
You board everybody on the ship, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you a question, guy to guy. Is there a lot of sweet ass on this ship?
I'm sure you'll be very happy.
Yes! All righty!
And the Oscar goes to Cuba Gooding Jr.
Let's express our feelings by throwing a piece of paper. This is going to be a solid 5er, which is represented comedically by more than 5 pieces being thrown. Solid 5 for me because there's nothing here. I almost would give a half point off because, like I said, it's interesting this exists, but it's not that interesting. It's not interesting. I can't even speak. Forgive me.
I'll give a 4.5 just for it's kind of impressive. This came out in 2000.
Generous, Matthew. Very generous.
Once again, it's hard to kind of track time by now.
That's
but,
very generous, Matthew. More generous than you've ever been.
4.75, I guess.
Still generous.
It's just weird that this came out theatrically, attracted the talent it did.
Where it exists. That's what I was saying. It's kind of it's fun to study.
I go with the 4.5 because of Sir Roger Moore.
Fair.
I have a soft spot for him.
That's his favorite Bond.
Also, I think the what about the gag? What about Hector when she's talking about having him sleep over and takes off her top in front of him?
Yeah, you know, it's just Storm. I mean, I wouldn't mind cuddling under the covers with somebody. Do you think Nick would mind?
Fuck Nick.
And he goes, "Fuck Hector."
This Nick. We can't be saying the fuck word.
You said Hector.
I was going along you.
I didn't say Hector.
Hector is the gay guy. Nick is Horatio Sands.
Whatever, man. Never mind.
He made you laugh.
Yeah, it made me laugh.
Genuinely.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's because of his delivery.
Yeah. He's an actor who knows how to deliver lines.
He won an
Sometimes.
Oscar.
MaJaMa.
This is my favorite type of episode where we get to take a weird, obscure movie like this and spend way too much time focusing on it. If you guys like sitting on a couch with us three morons and joking around while you break down Boat Trip and things that are like that, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we always got something new with our goofball selves. We're going to have paper. It's going to have to do with movies because we're freaks. That's what we like to do is obsess over movies. Hopefully you guys are like that too. But for me and the Italian and my brother Matthew and every piece of paper on this couch, to yours, this has undeniably been a jam. In this episode, that represents Horatio Sands' penis going into another man as he realizes that's okay.
He was so shocked that he slept with a man that he ran out of the cabin, but first he dressed himself.
Also that.
He took time.
I forgot to mention he thinks he turns gay. And he's okay with it. Oh, God, man. Fucking blow this thing up. I love this episode, though.
MaJaMa. MaJaMa.
Bayou Badou.